Welcome back to the Shipyard. Today, another Build Academy, Distress Dissipator. It's aptly named because it's focusing on two cards that do not see play hardly at all. The Energy Dissipator, Robert, you're welcome, and Automated Distress Beacon. Yes, even with the ruling that it can only affect friendly ships, we're going to make use of it. Is that enough of a hook? I hope so. Alright, so I've given away kind of the big selling feature, so let's dive in. Energy Dissipator. We're going to make it as cheap as possible. Well, not really, but we're going to make it at least relatively cheap. So we're going to run the Rav Learst. Why the Rav Learst? You've got built-in sensor echo. Gives you good quality. Gives you good firing arcs. Lets you put yourself in a position to hopefully get range 1 when you need it. That's important. Gul Dukat, of course, is a captain, and when you run Dukat, you need Boheeka. They're BFFs. You just do these things. Captured intelligence, because it's a fantastic talent, you want to stay alive. It just makes sense. And then, of course, the Energy Dissipator, because why else would you bring a Breen ship? For the purposes of this build, the Rav Learst with the Energy Dissipator. It works. Now we have an option here. We can equip Antiproton Scan. We don't have to. It's a useful card. We're going to have a choice later between that and another card on the Defiant. So we'll talk about that. Our other ship is, of course, the Defiant 1764. It's just a great ship. Run that with card 9, free actions. It's what you want. Battle station and then the rerolls of the Defiant is essentially perfect quality. And if you can't get the rerolls, then you've got battle station target lock, and again, you're good to go. The option we have is to run the Mirror Universe Sabotage. So it's either Sabotage or Antiproton Scan. That's a toss-up. That's something you can debate, figure out which one you like more. Okay, with that out of the way. Warp Jump. Why Warp Jump? Well, A, it's one of the most fantastic cards in the game. Probably top 5 card in the game, period. But specifically for the Defiant, you Warp Jump, you get behind ships. Now you're out of their forward firing arc, and you get to play up your named ability. Put Type 8 phaser on there. Put upgraded phasers. Ironically, we're not running Sakona. Why? We don't have a crew slot. We are using crew slots for Gen Sisko. That's how we get the tech slot for Warp Jump. And our Automated Distress Beacon. That's a card that can be any slot we want. Fill any slot. We're a little tight on slots there, but it's what you do sometimes. If you really wanted Sakona, you could probably do this with a systems upgrade and then put Automated Distress Beacon in for that systems upgrades tech slot. That might be an option. Something to think about, mess around with the points there. Now, the trick with these two ships working together, Automated Distress Beacon has to be outside of range 3. So when you do all of this, you want to set up far enough away that the Defiant can move far. The Rav Learst is going to open with a 3 bank and its sensor echo. And ideally, it wants to end such that it's in combat potential. So that means that a 2 maneuver, a 2 straight banker turn, has to carry it in the rest of the way. You can wait until the next round, but that's going to be a lot more dicey of a proposition. If you really have trouble setting up all the movement stuff at the beginning, throw the Defiant and the Rav Learst on opposite sides of the board to set up, and you'll be okay. And of course, you can always Warp Jump the Defiant, and that will put it on opposite sides and outside of range 3. So all of that being said, we've got the basic setup here. You do have a few other points. In fact, you have 41 points left over. For 36 points, something that works pretty well is the Nirvana. And you run the Nirvana with reroll Worf, skill 5 captain. You put Admiral Gowron on there. So that's solid potential. Do you suffer a little bit in terms of captain skill? Yeah, you do. But then you throw on Think Fast and Clegg, and that's 2 1-point upgrades that just work so well with the Drevana's named ability. It's not the most impressive ship, but it's 36 points of good offense, pretty good defense, and probably something that your opponent's going to ignore. And when you have that, I think you're doing all right. And of course, when you have 5 points left over, it's co-pilot. But it's not co-pilot for battle stations because guess what? We've got Worf, Gowron, Defiant, Picard, Gul Dukat. That sounds like a lot of battle stations and quality. Captain skill boost. Because what you want to do is take Gul Dukat from skill 7 to skill 10, and that will most likely get him the bump on some captain. Most captains, not all captains, because you do get a lot of Picard 9s going to 12 with Pegasus Riker, or Core 8s going to 11 with Crew Worf. You can't get everybody, but you can get somebody. And if you can get somebody, you take their shields down, you make it so they can't fire, and that really hurts them. And it gives you a ton of potential to just hammer away at them and remove them before they're ever a problem. So, this build is definitely tricky. It definitely requires some practice. It is not the easiest build by any means. It does require some pretty good piloting. It takes some knowing what you're doing. The nice thing is, as constructed, it is ship pure. It all depends on how you view mixing Fed and Mirror with a Fed Mirror ship, but that's how I work it because it's a dual faction ship, so they blend. Based on that, I think we're good to go. So hopefully this Build Academy has been enlightening. You can see a more advanced idea, something that does require some practice. And let's go from there. So, as always, we'll continue talking about tweaking different ideas in the comments. Until then, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care, guys.